I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. RFK Jr. is revealing how a state senator in North Carolina passed laws to protect a giant food company, then partnered with that food company to take over 28,000 farms and sell them to China. Here's the story. RFK Jr. said he spent 20 years suing the big factory farm producers like Tyson and Bob Bell, and then said that Smithfield Foods was one of the biggest pork producers in the world. He explained how Smithfield went into the state of North Carolina and built a slaughterhouse that could process 30,000 hogs a day. They then partnered with a man named Wendell Murphy, who passed dozens of laws while in the North Carolina State Senate, making it illegal to sue a factory farm. After he passed the laws, he left the Senate and went into partnership with Smithfield. Smithfield created a way to raise pigs in warehouses called Murphy 1100s instead of raising them on farms. They dropped the price of pork from 60 cents a pound to 2 cents a pound, putting all 28,000 independent hog farmers in the state out of business, replacing them with 20 to 100 factories, all of them either owned by Smithfield or contracted to Smithfield. The only farmers who could stay in business were farmers that signed a contract. They mortgaged their homes to put the Murphy 1100s on their property, and they lost all control. RFK Jr. said Smithfield dictates all of their farming practices, gives them food, delivers the piglets, picks up the grown animals, and takes them to slaughter. Because they dropped the price in North Carolina, Iowa had to adopt the same system. They had to cave, and now Smithfield controls 80% of hog production in the entire country. Then they sold themselves to China, so now China owns all that hog production in America. It controls the landscape and gives Americans substandard food, prompting RFK Jr. to say, quote, "And that's the end of Thomas Jefferson's vision of an American democracy rooted in tens of thousands of independent freeholds, each one owned by family farmers, each with a stake in our system of government. And that," he said, "is a huge threat to American democracy." 11 illegal migrants from Iran have been arrested, including an Iranian army sniper and migrants who have connections to Hezbollah, and an American citizen who threatened to kill ICE agents. The arrest happened over the weekend as national security continues to be a top concern after U.S. B-2 bombers took out 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. Officials now on high alert about Iranian sleeper cells in the country. DHS making the announcement saying the immigration operations took place in 8 states and 9 cities, targeting illegal migrants with known or suspected ties to terrorism and other criminal activities. One of the detainees was identified as a former member of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps with alleged connections to Hezbollah, while another was a former Iranian army sniper. 5 of the arrested illegal migrants had prior criminal convictions in the U.S., including charges related to grand larceny, drug possession, and firearm offenses. Another detainee had been living illegally in the U.S. for nearly 8 years after lying on a visa application. DHS also announced the arrest of a U.S. citizen accused of threatening to kill ICE agents. The arrests follow a DHS bulletin issued on Sunday warning of a heightened threat environment and a risk of cyber attacks and potential violent acts by Iranian-backed groups. CBP recently revealed that 1,504 Iranian nationals were apprehended at the southern border during the Biden administration, with 729 of them released into the country. In addition, during Biden's presidency, almost 400 illegal migrants on that terror watch list were apprehended at the southern border, and that number doesn't even include how many illegal migrants on the terror watch list came into the country along with the 2 million gotaways between 2021 and 2024. Governor Ron DeSantis just passed a law banning geoengineering and weather modification in Florida. People who violate the law face third-degree felony charges, up to 5 years in prison, and fines up to $100,000. The bill prohibits the injection, release, or dispersion of chemicals or substances into the atmosphere for the purpose of altering weather, temperature, climate, or sunlight intensity. The legislation also bans permits from being issued for geoengineering or weather modification activities. It's known as Senate Bill 56. It was sponsored by Senator Eliana Garcia and takes effect on July 1st. An email address and online form will be set up for people to report suspected geoengineering activities. In addition, publicly owned airports must submit monthly reports to the Department of Transportation starting October 1st. 1st, detailing any aircraft equipped for geoengineering or weather modification. Geoengineering has raised concerns over techniques like solar radiation management, releasing particles to reflect sunlight, that could disrupt ecosystems, alter rainfall patterns, or harm biodiversity with effects that are hard to reverse. Experts say weather changes in one region might cause droughts or floods in other places, affecting other countries unfairly. And many are worried about methods involving chemicals, silver iodide in cloud seeding that contaminate air, water, or soil, potentially causing respiratory issues or other health problems. Many associate geoengineering with alleged secret government programs, aka chemtrails, spraying harmful substances to control populations, and the possibility of it being used as a weapon or for economic gain, like manipulating weather for agriculture dominance. In 2016, Barack Obama dropped more than 26,000 bombs on multiple countries like Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan in what was known as a, quote, bloody end to Obama's presidency. Obama was criticized for his lack of transparency about the civilian casualties, with estimates suggesting between 384 and 807 civilians that were killed in these countries because of Obama's drone strikes. During Obama's 8 years in office, the U.S. conducted about 563 drone strikes in Pakistan, Somalia, and Yemen alone. This is a significant increase from the 57 strikes under George W. Bush. Obama did not seek congressional approval for his strikes, aside from in 2013, when Obama tried to get congressional approval for military action in Syria, but Congress did not act, so he conducted the strike anyway, without their approval. In 2011, Nancy Pelosi praised Barack Obama's strikes in Libya that were conducted without congressional approval, commending his courage in taking action. Now Pelosi is condemning President Donald Trump for striking nuclear sites in Iran without congressional approval. Pelosi expressed support for Obama's decision to launch 110 Tomahawk cruise missiles at the country, saying, quote, "I commend the president for his courage in taking this action and salute our men and women in uniform for their part in saving lives." Now, Pelosi has taken the opposite stance with Trump, saying the president ignored the Constitution by unilaterally engaging our military without congressional authorization. I join my colleagues in demanding answers from the administration on this operation, which endangers American lives and risks further escalation and dangerous destabilization of the region.